The first time he says it, she thinks he's joking. Don't breathe. The words are barely audible, spoken close enough to brush the shell of her ear. The tone isn't sharp. It isn't playful either. It's controlled, measured, dangerously calm. She freezes instinctively, not because she must, but because something in the way he says it makes movement feel impossible. They are in the southern corridor of the keep, late evening, long after council has ended. Most of the torches have been dimmed, leaving only low amber light against stone. Her sleeve is caught. That is the official reason he's standing so close. The embroidered edge of her gown has snagged against the iron hook of a banner mount. She hadn't noticed until she tried to walk past him. He had. Of course he had. Don't breathe, he repeats, softer now. She becomes aware of the way her chest rises beneath the fabric, of the way his gaze is lowered, not in impropriety, not in hunger, but in precise attention. Is it torn? She asks quietly. Not yet. His fingers come up slowly, hovering near her upper arm. He does not touch her immediately. He studies the fabric first, the way it twists slightly around her shoulder, the tension in the seam. You move too quickly, he says. You were blocking the corridor. His mouth shifts faintly at that. Perhaps. He steps closer. Not aggressively. Just enough that there is no longer space between them for air to cool. She feels the warmth of him at her back. Feels the steadiness in the way he positions himself, shielding the moment from the far end of the corridor without making it obvious. His fingers brush the outer layer of her sleeve. Light. Intentional. You can breathe, she murmurs. Not yet, he says. The words land differently this time. Less about fabric, more about tension. His fingers slide along the seam where the sleeve attaches at her shoulder. He moves carefully, not pulling, just testing the pressure. Her breath stutters despite the instruction. He pauses instantly. I said don't breathe, he murmurs. I'm trying. His hand tightens slightly, not gripping her skin, just anchoring the fabric so it doesn't tear. You don't trust me, he says quietly. I do. Then stay still. The correction is subtle, but meaningful. She stills completely. His fingers hook beneath the twisted fold of cloth, working it free from the iron edge. The motion requires closeness, his body nearly brushing hers. The sleeve slides slightly downward as he frees the fabric. Just an inch. The sensation is subtle, a cooling brush of air against skin that had been covered. He notices immediately. Don't move, he says. I wasn't. You were about to. She swallows. Because he's right. His hand moves again. This time not to free the fabric, but to smooth it. His palm traces slowly down her upper arm through the sleeve, pressing gently to flatten the twisted seam. The motion is practical. It does not feel practical. You're very aware of where you're touching, she says. Yes. Is that deliberate? Yes. Her pulse jumps. He shifts closer again, adjusting his stance so that his shoulder nearly aligns with hers. The fabric is no longer caught. He could step away now. He does not. Instead, his fingers slide to the cuff at her wrist. The fastening there has loosened slightly from the snag. He notices. Of course he does. This will slip if I don't fix it, he says. And if it does? Then someone else will notice. The implication is clear. She does not like that thought. His fingers begin to work at the tiny ties at her wrist, not pulling them tight, but loosening them first to reset the tension. The cuff relaxes slightly. The sleeve shifts. He draws a slow breath. Don't breathe, he whispers again. Her breath halts without thinking. His fingers slide upward, deliberately, along the length of her forearm. The sleeve moves with the motion. Sliding. Slowly. Down. The fabric gathers just below her elbow. The sensation is controlled. Intentional. Electric. He is not exposing her. He is not undressing her fully. But he is undeniably moving fabric in a way that requires trust. You're not fixing it, she murmurs faintly. I am, he replies calmly. This isn't how. Yes, it is. His thumb presses lightly against the inside of her forearm through the fabric, testing where it bunches. Her breath betrays her again. He pauses. You breathed. Because you're doing that on purpose. Yes. The honesty makes her pulse pound harder. His fingers reach her upper arm again. The sleeve now rests lower than it should. Not scandalous, but altered. The exposed line of her shoulder peaks beneath the shifted fabric. He looks, not greedily, not hungrily, just steadily. You're very still, he murmurs. You told me to be. And you listened. Yes, He steps around her slightly now, moving so he can see her face. Their eyes meet. There is no teasing there. No mockery. Only awareness. You trust me, he says quietly. Yes. And you're not afraid. No. His hand remains lightly wrapped around her upper arm, fingers resting against skin where the sleeve has slipped. You should be, he says softly. I'm not. The air feels thinner now. The corridor quieter. His thumb traces a slow, deliberate line upward, not crossing into anything indecent, not breaking boundaries, but reminding her that he is touching skin now, not just cloth. The sleeve slides another fraction downward. She feels it, feels the shift. You're not stopping, she says. No. You told me not to breathe. Yes. And now, he says quietly, I want to see how long you can hold it. The words send heat through her spine. This is no longer about a caught sleeve. It hasn't been for several breaths. His fingers curl slightly at her shoulder. He leans in, not kissing her, not yet, but close enough that she feels the warmth of his breath against her cheek. Say it, he murmurs. Say what? That you want me to finish. Her breath trembles. He feels it. His grip tightens slightly, not forcing, just grounding. You're shaking, he says. Because you told me not to breathe. His mouth almost curves. And you listened. Her eyes lock with his. Finish it, she says softly. The permission hangs in the air between them. His hand slides slowly down her arm once more. The sleeve slips fully to her elbow now, exposing her shoulder entirely. The air brushes her skin. He does not look away, and neither does she. The corridor remains empty. The torches flicker. And for the first time, this has nothing to do with fabric. The sleeve rests at her elbow now. The cool corridor air brushes her bare shoulder, and the contrast between warmth and chill sharpens every nerve beneath her skin. He does not step back. He does not rush forward either. He simply watches her. Her breathing is shallow, controlled, but no longer steady. You can breathe, he says quietly. The release of it feels almost dangerous. She exhales slowly, deliberately, as though the simple act carries weight. That was unfair, she murmurs. Yes. You knew I would listen. Yes. And you used it. His hand slides lightly along the exposed curve of her shoulder, not roaming, not pressing further, simply resting there. I needed to know, he says. Know what? That you would trust me when it mattered. The words soften something in the moment. This isn't reckless. It isn't careless. It is deliberate. She turns slowly to face him fully now, the fallen sleeve remaining where it is, neither of them bothering to fix it. You're very certain of yourself tonight, she says. No, he replies. I'm certain of you. That catches her off guard. The confidence in his voice isn't arrogance, it's recognition. Her gaze flickers briefly to his mouth before returning to his eyes. You've never crossed that line before, she says. I've stood at it many times. And tonight I stopped stepping back. His hand remains at her shoulder, thumb resting just at the edge of skin and fabric. The contact is light, but it is no longer accidental. You're not worried someone will walk through that corridor? She asks. I locked the outer door, he replies evenly. Her pulse jumps. You planned this. Yes. The honesty makes the air feel heavier. And if I had walked away, I would have unlocked it. The certainty in that steadies her again. He never forces. He never assumes. He always waits. Her hand lifts slowly, not hesitating now, and rests against his chest. The warmth beneath the fabric surprises her. You're not as composed as you pretend to be, she says softly. No. His free hand comes up to rest at her waist again. The same grounding touch as before, but firmer now. She does not move away. The corridor feels smaller. The world feels narrower. You said you wanted to see how long I could hold my breath, she murmurs. Yes. And now I want to see what happens when you don't. The words settle deep. His hand at her waist slides slightly around to the small of her back. Not pulling, not trapping, simply guiding her one step closer. She allows it. The exposed line of her shoulder brushes his chest as she shifts. The contact sends a quiet shiver through her. You're aware of every inch, she says. Yes. Even now. Yes. His thumb traces a slow line along her upper arm, downward this time, following the edge of where the sleeve rests. The movement is deliberate, measured. She inhales again, this time not because she was told to, but because she cannot help it. You're not stopping, she says quietly. No. And if I told you to? I would. The simplicity of the answer removes the last of her hesitation. Her fingers curl lightly into the fabric at his collar. The movement is subtle, intentional. His gaze darkens, not with impatience, but with acknowledgement. You're not standing still anymore, he murmurs. No. The sleeve slips a fraction lower as she shifts closer again, brushing against him. He notices instantly. His hand steadies her waist. You're not afraid, he says softly. I'm not. You should be. I trust you. The words land between them with more weight than anything else that has passed. Trust. It is what has held them back. It is what allows them forward. His hand moves from her waist up along her back, fingers spreading lightly against fabric, tracing the line of her spine. The touch is firm. Not wandering. Not rushed. Just present. You've been careful with me for a long time, she says. Yes. Too careful. Yes. And now I want to know what happens if I'm not. Her pulse spikes. You won't lose control, she says quietly. No. Why? Because you don't want me to. The certainty in his voice makes her breath catch again. He leans in slowly, not kissing her yet, but close enough that his breath brushes her cheek. The warmth contrasts with the cool air against her bare shoulder. You're trembling again, he murmurs. You're very aware of that. Yes. His thumb presses lightly at the curve of her shoulder, not sliding further, not claiming more, just grounding her there. You can stop this, he says softly. I won't. You're sure? Yes. Her answer comes quicker now, clearer. He studies her face for one suspended moment, searching for doubt. Finding none, his hand slides from her shoulder to cup lightly at her jaw. Not gripping, not forcing, just steady. The intimacy of it feels sharper than anything else. Her fingers tighten at his collar. You're very patient, she whispers. Only until I'm certain. And now, he says quietly. I'm certain. He closes the remaining space between them. The kiss is slow, not sudden, not hungry, but charged with everything that has been restrained for too long. Her breath catches against his mouth. His hand at her back tightens slightly, drawing her closer without urgency. The fallen sleeve presses against his chest as she leans into him. The corridor disappears. The torches fade into background light. There is only heat, only closeness, only choice. When he pulls back, it is not far, just enough to look at her. You're still here, he says softly. Yes. And you're not stepping away. No. The sleeve remains at her elbow. The fabric loosened. The line crossed. And this time, neither of them intends to retreat. The corridor is no longer enough. The sleeve rests at her elbow, her shoulder bare to the cool torchlight, and the kiss they just shared has altered something fundamental between them. He does not step back. She does not adjust the fabric. Neither of them pretends. You locked the outer door, she says softly. Yes. And this is still a corridor. Yes. Her fingers remain curled into his collar, steadying herself. Then this isn't where it ends. He studies her for a moment, not questioning, not doubting, simply confirming. No, he agrees. His hand slides back to her waist, guiding rather than pulling. He does not rush her down the corridor. He moves slowly, giving her space to resist. She doesn't. They walk only a short distance before he opens a smaller chamber off the gallery, a private map room rarely used at night. He does not lock this door. He leaves it ajar. The difference matters. You didn't close it, she says quietly as they step inside. No. Why? Because I don't need to, he replies. The implication is clear. This is no longer about secrecy. It's about intention. The chamber is lit by a single oil lamp and faint firelight from a small hearth. The room feels warmer, closer, less exposed than the corridor. She turns to face him fully. The sleeve still hangs low. He notices. Of course he does. His hand lifts slowly, brushing the fabric at her elbow. You could fix it, he murmurs. Yes. But you haven't. No. The honesty in that small exchange thickens the air between them. He slides his fingers upward along her forearm, slow, deliberate, guiding the sleeve back toward her shoulder. But halfway up, he stops. His hand shifts instead to her waist, resting there. You told me to finish, he says quietly. I did. And you meant it. Yes. His gaze searches hers one more time. For doubt, for fear, for hesitation. There is none. Only anticipation. His hand moves again, this time not to fix the sleeve. Instead, He lets his fingers trace the line where fabric meets skin at her shoulder, not crossing into anything indecent, just acknowledging the place where restraint once stood. "You're still trembling," he murmurs. "I'm not afraid. I know." His hand slides to the back of her neck, fingers spreading lightly against her hair. The touch is grounding, intimate. Her breath deepens again. "You told me not to breathe," she says softly. "Yes. And now." "Now," he murmurs, "I want to hear it." The shift is subtle but powerful. He is no longer testing her stillness. He is asking for her presence. She exhales slowly, deliberately, her breath brushing his lips as she steps closer. He does not command this time. He follows. His mouth finds hers again, deeper now, but still controlled. There is no rush, no frantic edge. It is deliberate, chosen. Her hands slide from his collar to his shoulders, fingers pressing firmly through the fabric. He responds instantly, drawing her closer with a steady hand at her back. The fallen sleeve slips further as she leans in, but neither of them moves to correct it. It is no longer an accident. It is a decision. When he breaks the kiss, his forehead rests against hers again. "You're certain?" he says quietly. "Yes. And you understand this changes how they see us?" "Yes. They'll talk." She almost smiles. They already do. His thumb traces lightly along the curve of her shoulder once more. "And you don't care?" "No. Because this was never about fabric. Never about a sleeve. It was about whether she trusted him to touch what no one else was allowed to. And whether he would stop if she asked." He leans back slightly, not creating distance, but giving her room to move first. She takes it. Her hand slides slowly down his chest, deliberate, controlled, mirroring the way he moved against her earlier. His breath catches this time. "You're very bold tonight," he murmurs. "You started it." His mouth curves faintly. "Yes." Her fingers reach the fastening at his collar, not undoing it fully, just loosening the tension there. A quiet symmetry. "You're not the only one who notices details," she says softly. He studies her expression, and then, instead of stopping her, he lets his head tilt slightly forward, giving her better access. Trust runs both directions. The intimacy deepens, not in exposure, not in urgency, but in shared control. His hands slide firmly to her waist again, thumbs pressing lightly through the fabric, grounding them both. "Stand still," he whispers once more. But this time, it isn't an instruction. It's a memory. She doesn't freeze. She doesn't hold her breath. She steps closer instead, closing the final distance completely. "I'm not standing still anymore," she murmurs. "I know." His hands tighten slightly at her waist, not possessive, not demanding, just steady. "Good," he says. They remain like that for a long moment, breathing in rhythm now instead of restraint. The sleeve finally slips fully free of her shoulder. Neither of them reacts. The world does not end. The keep does not collapse. There is only closeness, only warmth, only certainty. Eventually, he lifts the sleeve gently, guiding it back into place. The gesture surprises her. "You're fixing it?" she asks. "Yes." "Why?" "Because when we walk out of here, I want them to know it was chosen, not careless." The answer settles something deep inside her. He adjusts the fabric carefully, smoothing it back over her shoulder with deliberate precision. The intimacy of the act feels stronger than before, because now it is not about tension. It is about acknowledgement. When he finishes, his hand lingers there briefly, then drops. They step back just enough to breathe. The door remains open behind them. He gestures toward it slightly. "Ready?" he asks. "For what?" "For them to see the difference." She studies him, searching for hesitation. There is none. "Yes," she says. They step back into the corridor side by side, not touching at first, but not avoiding each other either. The torchlight catches her properly arranged sleeve, the loosened edge at his collar. Subtle signs, deliberate ones. A pair of guards glance up as they pass. Their eyes shift. Not scandal, recognition. By morning, the keep feels different. Not chaotic, not fractured, just aware. At council, she sits at his left as always. The Duke does not hesitate before speaking. "She remains at my side," he says evenly before anyone can ask. No apology, no explanation, just truth. And when she feels his hand briefly brush against hers beneath the table, she does not pull away, because the door he locked was never meant to keep her in. It was meant to keep interruption out. And what they undid that night was not fabric. It was restraint. and neither of them intends to put it back.